Chapter 17. Our Sister Jessie. Once again, we find our heroes at Pleasantville Dam, happily fishing. This dam has stood the test of time for 200 years. My forefather built it with his best friend Lewis. Joe stood proudly at the feature. However, I don't think it would last too much longer. Do they have a plan to fix it? Sunny asked, rubbing some more sun cream onto her arms. Joe scoffed. Peter shook his head. Of course not. I've only been petitioning for it for the past 3 years. He scowled as Belle hauled in another large fish. You know they're corrupt at the Pleasantville Council, Daddy. Why don't you just take the money from the coffers and do it yourself? She asked innocently. What, and be as bad as those I'm trying to prosecute? No, thank you. Peter admonished her. It was just a suggestion. Considering how much damage that would be done if the dam did burst, I think it's a good one, Belle replied haughtily. You're having another good idea before me, Charlie yelped. What on earth is going on? It took Thomas, Daniel, TJ, Peter, Joe, and Sunny to stop Belle from strangling her best friend with the fishing line. Belle was still stewing later that afternoon. Charlie really didn't help the situation any and insisted on needling her when he could. The others had gone home for the evening, and the pair were in their tree waiting for Bill and Betty to finish making dinner. Yeah, well, next you'll be able to use the... Charlie taunted, but silenced when he saw the look on Belle's face. You're hilarious when you're mad, you know that, right? You're a pain, Charlie. Why do I hang out with you again? Belle frowned at him. Because I know too much, Charlie teased, pinching her cheek affectionately. Like Mr. Wuzzy Fuzzles? Belle smirked. Charlie shut up after that. Belle enjoyed her little victory. She looked out towards the road, noticing a beat-up old crummy door mounting the curb. Visitors? She asked quizzically. Inside, Peter had also noticed the crummy door. He had just finished giving Bill a piece of his mind when he noticed who was driving it. Get Beauty inside, now, he commanded his brother. Do it yourself, Bill snapped. Bill, now. Peter gave him a look. Bill stepped back. Okay, whatever. Hey, Belle, get inside, now, Bill yelled as he headed up the stairs. What's up? Joe asked. Jessie and Johannes, Peter replied. Joe froze. Belle, now, no arguments, Bill roared as he entered her room. But now! Bill reached through the window and grabbed her. Charlie followed her inside. Close the windows and stay put, Bill warned. He'd just noticed the car too, and he knew what it meant. But Uncle Bill... Belle, trust me on this. Do as you are told, Bill growled. That instantly silenced Belle, who was now a little scared. Unlike her older brothers, Jessie looked more like her mother, only with her father's dark hair instead of the blonde hair the boys shared with their mother. She was tall and thin with dark circles under her blue eyes. Her boyfriend, Johannes, was just as thin, with a shaved head, numerous tattoos, brown eyes and a leering smile. He stank of alcohol and he hid his red eyes behind a pair of oversized sunglasses. Jessie had left the Masters family before Belle was born. She couldn't stand the Masters Code nor the improbability clause, and thought that both were old and antiquated, and in the case of the improbability clause, completely fictional. The fight that she'd had with Joe the night before she left was much, much worse than the petty squabbles between Joe and his sons, and it had left Joe in tears. That night, Peter and Bill turned on their sister and refused to acknowledge her as their relation. It had killed Peter inside to do it, as he had been raised to believe that his number one priority was to protect his siblings at all costs. Seeing her now, he realised that she had never changed. Even as children, she'd been the odd one out. She'd never fully embraced the family code, or the friendship with the Begleys for that matter. There was nothing anyone could have done. What does she want? Bill growled after he got back downstairs. I don't know, but she better not think that Johannes is coming inside, Peter said firmly. Last time Jessie had come back with Johannes, he tried to molest Belle in her sleep. But Peter had caught him before he'd even gone close, though, and had earned himself his second scar in the process. Belle, thankfully, had no idea what the ensuing fight had been about, assuming the argument had just been the stock standard one that was always going on. The three men went outside to meet the unwelcome pair. Belle peeked underneath her curtain, then quickly closed it again. Johannes scared her. You okay? Charlie asked. Jessie and Johannes, Bill replied. Charlie hugged her. He had a quick look outside too, and saw the three masters' men standing outside. Thomas was outside too, pretending to weed his petunias. Jessie got out of the car and walked towards her family. Johannes leaned back against the car, smirking. Two of his friends were sitting in the car, big, hulking men who oozed trouble. Jessie, Peter frowned. Peter? Bill? Dad? Jessie glared back. What are you after? Peter asked unkindly. What? I'm not allowed to come and see my family after so long? Jessie bit back. Well, considering what happened last time, I think I have a right to be wary, Peter said, glaring at Johannes, who chuckled. Get out of it, Peter. He didn't hurt her, Jessie snapped. Only because I stopped him, was the cold reply. The two siblings glared at each other. Aren't you going to say anything, Dad? Jessie turned to her father. I've said all I'll ever say to you, Jess, Joe said sadly. You won't listen to me. All you ever talk about is that stupid code, Jessie fired. It's our family code. Your code, Bill protested. You're one of us. Apparently not anymore, Jessie glared at him. You're right, Joe. I don't know why I came back. Told you they wouldn't have a bar of it, Johannes sneered. I don't care about you. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you get your heart broken, Peter snarled. You can't even let it go for the sake of your own niece and nephew? Pathetic. Johannes got up off the car and walked towards Peter. Bill and Joe flinched as he stood right in front of the oldest master's son. You're pregnant, Jessie? Peter asked, looking down his nose at Johannes. Yes, I am. I came to you for help, and instead I'm being thrown out, Jessie rounded on him. We'll help. You just got to keep Johannes away from us, Peter said. Johannes is the father. You help me, you help him, Jessie bit back. Well, then we have nothing to discuss. Peter finished the conversation. I'm your sister, Jessie began to tear up. And you hurt my brother and my father. Your little boyfriend here tried to hurt my daughter. I think I know whose side I'm on. Peter looked at his baby sister, pregnant with the fool's child. He pitied her a little. 2 tears leaked from Jessie's eyes. Johannes fumed. You made her cry, you bastard, he roared at Peter. She made us cry, Peter replied. Johannes swung violently at Peter, who dodged. With one hand to the chest, he sent Johannes flying to the ground. Thomas roared with laughter. Johannes had landed in a muddy puddle and his pants were now stained brown. Peter's expression hadn't changed. Johannes's 2 friends suddenly leapt out of the car and headed towards the 3 masters. That's when Thomas got up and came over. Yep, I'll handle these 2, he smirked. Peter groaned. They are younger, stronger, and probably faster than you, he said. You're going to get thumped. Improbability time, Thomas replied. The 2 thugs rushed at him. One went to punch Thomas and ended up getting his fist caught. Thomas threw him back and aside easily. The other tried to grab him around the throat from behind. Thomas merely leaned back, causing the thug to slip on the wet grass. He went down, Thomas landing heavily on top of him. And done. Thomas got up, proud of himself. Come on, Joe, let's go. Jessie pulled Johannes up as his friends rushed back to the car. He swatted her away angrily. Get your hands off me, you bitch. He shoved her aside and stalked back to the car. Jessie took one last look at her brothers and father. Peter, the way she'd always remembered him, with his neat short hair and short build. Bill and Joe, both tall and solid with long hair, the only difference between them being the number of scars and Bill's blonde hair against Joe's dark hair. With one last glare, she jumped into the car and the group drove off. Thomas grinned and got up. Did you see that? Did you see how good I was? Ow! Thomas bragged as Peter smacked him upside the head. My one moment of badassery. One moment. And you ruined it! Peter fumed. Sometimes it's hard to be a Masters. Well, more family drama. Everyone loves family drama. Everyone has family drama. I hope you enjoyed the Masters family drama today. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Check out www.chucklesandgiggles.com. Drink plenty of water. Make sure you eat your veggies and your fresh fruit. Get vaccinated. Take your medication if you're on them. You know, all good things like that. And I will see you next time. See ya.